Okay. Like, what do you prefer debating about anyway?
Um, Mostly stuff that just makes people mad.
Like if someone made a stupid claim, you'll debate him on it, like that stuff.
Yep, I will just even if I don't even believe in the thing that they believe in, I'll just like if I
Yeah,
believe in
debate
something
him
they
just for the
believe,
sake
I'll
of
just
debate, right? Gotcha.
just annoy them.
Yeah, I do that too from time to time, but I don't really worry about that.
Yeah, but like people just get so mad over that. It's really weird.
Yeah. So like, hmm. All right. Okay. What's your favorite thing to debate about?
Let me think because I don't really do too much debating. I mostly just argue with people about stuff. But
No. Okay. What's your favorite thing to argue about besides on whether or not someone's retarded?
um, probably like history, maybe.
Okay. 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 I mean, we can debate on whether or not Hitler was justified in starting World War II.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and take like the devil's advocate position that like he was. So,
Oh, I was going to do that, but okay.
all right. Like you want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. So, the argument I would make for like Hitler starting World War II is because of how fucked Germany was at the time. War would be the only way to gain profit for the country, and because like Hitler was like warring and conquering on all sides, that would just lead to further profit and further prosperity for Germany as a whole. So there'd be no reason not to war because that's the last thing Hitler could have done.
Well, yeah, but they went to war with everyone. Like they had no allies. Eventually, they would have just been able. They would have fallen, like they actually did. But
And what do
they're
you
not
think
going to be able to hold
happened
it
when
for
he
long.
conquered other countries? He gained profit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so his country would no longer be in poverty and would then be prosperous.
But then that makes. But he was not going to be able to hold that big of a front. And like he tried to fight Russia,
And
which
it
they
led
have
to
a lot of.
prosperity for his country. It's
Well,
the
yeah,
act the
but
acting of itself should be a neutral act.
well, they didn't. Well, he did murder like a lot of Germans as well. Not German. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Jewish Germans, which that did decrease the population and workforce of Germany
Now, don't
and
get me
building a
wrong. I'm
wall. I
not
mean,
gonna justify discrimination. I'm only gonna justify the war. So anything else you'd bring up would just be like a straw man in my position. So
oh
yeah,
well, I do understand the war though, which
yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah. But
It's yeah, it's like if you're in like desperate need of stuff like that, it would be you would have to probably go to war. That's kind of why
mm, I
like
mean
some people.
I mean for the sake of argument, yeah, we'll go with that. But
Yeah.
but anyway, do you have like a counter argument for like for my argument?
Um. Not really, to be honest, because I kind of agree with that though. Kind of
Okay.
hard.
Uh, okay. Then do you want to like redebate that? Cause if I can like take the opposing side.
Uh, you want to take the side that it was wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, we're debating about it, if
On
starting
whether or
World War
not
Two
Hitler
and all
was
that.
justified in starting World War II. Yeah, that's the
Mm,
debate.
we do a little bit more of like more like about everything else that he did kind of as well. if it was
Yeah,
more
sure.
justified or not.
I'm cool with that. So you want to take the
Okay.
side that he is justified?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. Uh, since you're gonna be making the argument I would have made in the last debate, I'll just simply make the counter argument that everything else he did would have outweighed the prosperity he caused for his country. Such as, say, like, causing inherent discrimination of, say, Jews, cripples, sick people, old people, etc., and that he subjected multiple countries to a cruel fate that they didn't deserve. So, like, with the multitude and like, the mass destruction he caused as a person, that should outweigh any prosperity he caused for his country. So, like, what would be your counter argument to that?
Okay. Well, for people that are crippled and or have brain problems or whatever, right? They or like you know how some people say like elderly people are like more of a burden to the economy. That's
Yeah.
kind of what he did. He got rid of the burden. I don't think it's right, but that's what he did.
Right, and I'm
So
saying
he
that the
yeah.
act by itself would be neutral, but everything else Hitler did, like, say, conquering and pillaging, and basically causing mass destruction and causing war in other countries that he wasn't able to take over, would be a net loss for him. Which would just outweigh any prosperity he, like, caused for his country. Right, okay. Uh,
Well, it would. Well, he could just
okay,
show like he could just basically make other people fight each other, and then when they're weak, he could go after
okay,
them because then
okay,
he.
but that would have caused a long drawn out process, and Germany wouldn't be able to, like, handle for that long. Okay, think of this. Okay, let's say your city is like the entire planet, and like your household is
Mhm.
like one country, right?
Yeah.
Me murdering and pillaging, or me trying to murder and pillage, like, say, 25 to 30 other households, and
Yeah.
failing, and basically, like, failing at the halfway mark, would cause so much net loss that on a utilitarian basis, that should, like, outweigh any prosperity that I caused for my household, right?
Yes, but if that starts other wars, right? Then they're just going to be busy fighting them, and then they're not going to target
But we're
you.
talking
So
about
then
like,
you,
World War II, or like the time period at that time. So
yeah.
anything else would just be like a non sequitur.
What?
Okay, so you remember from World War One when Germany was divided into fourths?
I think I'm not too much. I'm not too
Okay,
smart on
Hitler was
history.
like a fighter pilot in like World War One, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how he
But I thought
started
he
out
was.
his political career. After his time in the service ended, he then became a politician, right? And then he rose to
Hmm.
power. Using the propagation of Jews caused everything wrong, or did everything wrong, to lean on his campaign and give people something to hate so that they'd rally on his side, right?
Hmm.
After that, he then manipulated that starved, fucked up Germany as a and like made it his personal monopoly so that he could then gain profit, right?
Yeah.
That's why he then started World War II, so that one, he could subject other countries to his tyrannical rule, and two, so he could discriminately kill off the Jews and anything else he discriminated against. But then he
Well, what
then
do you
went
think?
beyond that and tried conquering England, tried conquering France, tried an attempt at Russia, and would have made an attempt at Italy for betraying him, right?
Hmm.
The net
But
loss caused by all that failure and those attempts, period, would be so much of a net loss to the point that whatever prosperity Hitler would have caused for his country would be so meager in comparison to everything else he did. Like, okay, think of like having a value of like -10, right? But when you
hmm.
conquer and pillage other countries, you get like a +2, which then divides that -10, excuse me, lowers that -10 into like a -8, right? The point is the
Hmm.
value is still negative, even though it's a lower degree of negative, right? Kind of like
Yeah.
integers. So, like,
But
what's your argument for that?
well, okay. If it actually did go through, Do you know how much economic value he would have got? It was a smart idea to do those wars, but they did fail.
Hold on,
If he
hold on.
did,
You were making a claim about economic profit if he were to conquer those other countries. Do you have something in the
yeah.
form of like statistics to to use as a reliable source for that claim?
Um. Well, he was trying to go after France, right?
He was trying to go after everyone. Like anything that
Yeah.
moved, he would have conquered it or tried to.
So I'm pretty sure France was a uh
Hold on, give me a second. My computer is an ass. Okay, try talking now.
um in hold up France was a pretty good economic power, right? And back then, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, France is a world power. It took America
Yeah,
dropping the A bomb on Japan twice to make it a world power.
yeah. So if he did actually conquer France, there he would have got most of that economic power and all that France had, which I don't really know where I can find statistics for that, but
Okay, tell I'll give you a few minutes to go on like federalstatistics.org or something like that, and go find a few statistics. I'm not gonna be too stingy about it.
yeah.
I'll give you a minute or two. But besides that, moving on to what you were trying to say.
Hold up.
All right.
World War II happened in 1948, right?
No, World War II ended in 45. Hitler rose to power and like started his propagation against other countries in the late 30s. I think it was mid
Oh
to
wait,
late
hold up.
30s actually.
Wait, hold up. Then when did World War II start?
Somewhere
I
around
thought
the
it,
40s. Like
I
I
thought it
want
was
to say 38
1945.
or 39. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, 1930. Don't do that. I'm guessing Wikipedia is not a good source.
I don't mind if you use Wikipedia.
Okay.
Besides, like Wikipedia has like links to like statistics to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a couple of like statistics like the A bomb on me from Wikipedia. So,
Mm,
well, links to those, fucking statistics and shit.
yeah. Found the population.
Hmm.
Oh, hold up. There's actually something about the economic impact of World War II.
Are you looking at France being a world power, or are you looking at its economic value?
No, I was trying to look at the economic value right now.
Oh, okay. I don't really dabble too
Economic.
much in economics, so like I'm not as knowledgeable in France as I am in Germany. So
Yeah. There's really not much about it in 1930.
let's see. At the time, you could have you could potentially look at statistics that of like the net gain France gained by like going to war, because as you know, some countries, like say America, get a boost in their economy from war. To like
Hmm.
maybe look for those statistics
I
real
don't
quick.
think I don't think France actually did get an economic boost from this because they actually lost almost like 500,000.
True, true.
So they probably lost more from the.
I have to like look at statistic before I can say either or. So,
Yeah. find some. Wait, yeah, on this website it says France lost 568,000 people.
Nah, that's a shit ton of people. Can you go ahead and like drop that in debate?
The website I'm using?
Yeah, the website, so I can like see what you're reading.
Yeah.
Okay. The balance, huh? The balance is not too bad actually. I heard good reviews about it. Like the fucking link will work. Thank you. Okay. Generated the human death toll in Europe. The war killed 40 mil. So it's alright. So like, what's the argument you'd be making from the article?
What?
So what'd be the argument you'd be making from the article?
Yeah. That. France lost. Wait. I feel like we got off track.
So the argument I was just making was like on like Germany, like, you know, getting a net loss, and then we started like talking about France. So
Yeah.
it's fine. Go ahead. So like, what'd be the argument you'd be making from the article for the claim you made?
If okay, I know like the article doesn't really have anything with it, but like I would say like okay, if Germany did conquer France, you would have got all that population, right? And the whole entire like where France is, which I know there's a lot of factories and all that in France somewhere probably back at the time. I don't know where or how much. It's really hard to find. But he would have got that if he did succeed in the conquering of France. So that probably would have been a longer term economic thing,
Okay.
but he would eventually probably gain from it.
Okay, so let's go put some numbers together real quick. So, you see like over 20 million people being killed. And then like Germany, you know, losing 9 mil, Poland, you know, 5 mil, you know, Yugoslavia, you know, 1 mil, and then other countries is like, yeah, like, okay. Let's just put those numbers together real quick, and then let's just say that like in a combination total that'd be like, I don't know, 30 mil, right? Probably lower than 30 mil because these numbers here, but let's go with 30 mil quick, right?
Well, I mean not Germany. Russia did lose 20.
Yeah, but anyway, the point is, right? Assuming Hitler were to invade all of these countries and, like, you know, successfully take over their economies, how do you know Hitler would have made the amount of revenue it would have taken to, like, go above the amount of people killed? Like, would you assert the value of, like, one person, in this case, it'd be, like, $1? Like, what?
Yeah. But, okay. You know how we're kind of, like, having overpopulation now?
Yeah.
Like, at this time, it would not be as bad. But back then, it was, like, a human life was more back then, but now it's a lot less because there's a lot more of us.
Are you talking about, like, whenever, like, America had, like, its boomer period? Like, in the 20s?
No, I mean, like we just, like, you know how India's, like, has, like,
Oh, yeah, like the current population crisis in China and India?
Yeah, so, like, if we actually did, like, have a Hitler in that area, and, like, to be honest, I don't know if it would be that bad of a thing, to be honest, because like we actually do need kind of a population control kind of.
Okay,
So
so alright, so here, let's go back to the math real quick. Okay, so
yeah,
let's go ahead and like round the numbers together. Okay, so we're gonna come. All right, so that's 20 mil. You know, plus 9, that should be 29 mil, right? And after that, there's 5, we should just get 34 mil, right? There's another mil, which
yep.
then should then be 35 mil, right? Then we'll say this number is like 570, and then we'll add on to that, which is like give or take 445,000, right? Then we'll say this one is like 400k. This one should be like 830. Then this one should be like 460, and then we'll just say this one's like I don't know, like 580, right? Okay, we'll round those numbers together real quick, right? You do know like the amount of people that would have been killed would have still like been like above potentially 40 mil.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
how do you know that? How do you know Hitler would have made 40 million from all that? At least.
okay. Well, I'm not saying that he would make it in his lifetime. I'm saying that it would be long term. Like it would take a lot. It would probably be like around now. It would have to be for like to
Wait,
possibly
wait. If it'd be
make it.
around now, then that should be like a net loss on the economy, since you're making the argument. Hold on, you're making the argument of like neutrality from like Hitler, right? So if you're arguing that he would gain this much money, like in this current time period from back then, that would actually be a net loss on his part. So he wouldn't do that. Actually,
Well, okay. How much was I'm looking this up. Like, how much was 40 million in
back then,
19? Yeah.
back then, that shit was like it may as well have been like $1 billion, dude.
Yeah, it's over though. I know that. I'm gonna do 1940.
I so hate this freaking like chair. Oh my god. Alright. So like okay. I'm not gonna be too stingy, but what do you think? How long do you think it would take for Hitler to like gain that amount of profit in like his lifetime, from the war, right? If we just use those numbers and say one person equals $1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'll go ahead with it.
I would say it would take a long time. It would probably be like
Like around okay, okay,
60 years.
okay.
That's what I would probably.
I don't think 60 years would be a good enough profit. I don't think it would take him. I don't think if it'd take him 60 years to make that profit, he'd even like go through with that. So like, you'd have to like give an argument on like him like getting more profit in like a more brief amount of time rather than a long drawn out process. Because
Mm-hmm.
Germany back then, remember, it was in a really bad spot. Like even while like war is in place. So like, okay, here. Let me like get like an article of like here. Google Scholar. Okay. Oh crap. Where misspelled Google Scholar. Here, let me get an article real quick. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
German society and okay.
Oh, actually, hold on. I just calculated how much it would be. It'd be 73 something million.
Okay. So 73
It
mil?
actually, yeah,
Okay,
it wouldn't even be
so
that much.
how do you get 73 mil?
Oh wait, hold on. That's actually wrong.
Yeah, like
Hold on.
Okay, here. Okay, is there anything on here? What in the world? I don't care about those stupid. It's retarded. Let's try that again. Oh my god, if only the adpocalypse didn't happen on the internet. I'd feel so much better. Yeah, let's try this one again. I swear, I typed so slow. There's a stupid catch.
It would actually be 739
Let
million
me go.
in today's.
Okay, German economist. Okay, German concept of market economy. 3 essays on social and economic repercussions. Unification in Germany. Okay, what's this article gonna give? Like, evolution.
Oh, we have someone in the chat.
Okay, okay. Yeah, fuck it. Let's see, okay, what was this one? Yeah, fuck it. Alright. Yeah, fuck it. No, well. I don't feel like taking that long to go find an article on like fucking German economy right now.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Eh.
But he actually would probably be able to make it though, because like it's like we said 40 million, right?
Right, we said 40 million just to agree on like some rounding, and then we also agreed that like one person be like worth $1, like in this case.
So he actually probably would be able to make that much money in like 30 years, probably. Well, he would have to make around I'm just gonna round it. It's gonna be 700 million in like 40 years, 30 maybe, I don't know, but he probably could do that.
Okay, that seems a little vague, but continue.
But like he probably could, because like France, Italy, Russia, everywhere around there. He like if he actually did get that, he probably would have been able to get his economy back in a 2 years.
Okay, so like, do you have like, do you have like an idea of like the rate of like profit percentage, like from that game? Like, because you do know that whenever you like look at labor statistics and whatnot, like, see what we've already agreed on is like give or take 40 mil, and that one person would be worth $1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what would be the rate of percentage up to that point on a progressive scale? Like, do you think it'd be downhill, uphill, like what?
It would be down, probably, because there's going to be there'd be more humans in the world.
What? Well, if it'd be downhill, that would be a net loss for him. You mean to say it'd be uphill, right?
No, because there would be more. Okay, it would be more uphill if there's less people in the world, because human life would be worth more.
Okay, well, okay, alright, I'm getting confused here, okay. Are you saying that, okay, I asked a question about, like, the rate of profit he'd get progressively to that scale. Like, I'm wondering, because whenever you have an uphill statistic, that means you're steadily gaining, right? But when you have a downhill statistic, that means you're steadily losing. Are you saying he's steadily gaining, or he's steadily losing? Sorry if it wasn't clear before.
I couldn't really say. I couldn't really give like a confirmed answer, but what I might think would probably he might be gaining.
Okay,
I don't know
well,
if that would be for sure, but he probably would be
eh.
getting some.
Well, okay. I don't really find that as like a satisfiable answer to my question. So like, I'll have to go ahead and push with my argument that like Hitler would have had to gain a net loss, like in comparison to the amount of suffering and like destruction he caused in other countries, uh, in comparison to say like the prosperity he caused for his country. So like, do you have like any real counter for that?
Oh, sorry. I was just. What were you saying?
Okay, so uh, I don't really feel like you gave me a satisfiable counter on that end, so
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and give like the argument from before, which was like the premise. The argument I would have made from like the house analogy is that like basically the amount of like destruction and like chaos like Hitler caused like everywhere else in the world would have just outweighed whatever net profit he would have gained from causing economic prosperity in Germany, right?
Well, like, what other places are we talking? Like, are we talking about like that?
Like anywhere,
The chaos.
literally anywhere he invaded. Like from Poland,
Okay, okay.
yeah, like from Poland, potentially Russia,
Because like,
potentially
if you're talking about like
I'm
America
talking about
or anywhere else,
everywhere he went and caused
yeah.
chaos.
Okay,
Like
because
all that group
well,
together would have had a net loss in comparison to the net gain in prosperity from his country, right? Like you
hmm
remember like the integer example I gave you, like how he was at a -10, but the gain he got was like a +2. So then like the net loss he would have gained was only a -8 by then.
yeah.
That's really it.
Well, he still at least did kind of like do something at least. He did something that other people did not.
Right, right, and I guess it's good and all, right? But like
Yeah.
he was still would have had a massive net loss. So like, do you want?
Well, that's kind of if okay. You know how Napoleon was a tyrant, kind of like Hitler, right? But not all the stuff that Hitler. It like Napoleon was successful, but Hitler not so much. So if there was
Wait.
not as much chaos,
So
he there would
how's
be
that?
more.
How's that a good equivocation to Hitler though? Using Napoleon.
Well, because okay, they both tried to conquer Europe, right?
Okay.
Napoleon basically overthrew a government. That's which kind of Hitler did, kind of, but not really. But so I kind of see them both kind of on the same like kind of ground. You know what I mean?
A bit vague, but go ahead. Are you there?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Okay, like, okay, so, like, I don't really see any real argument from you besides kind of like the same thing you're saying, so, like, okay. Do you agree that, like, Hitler still would have had a massive net loss in comparison to the gain he caused for Germany?
Yeah, at that moment, but I feel like yeah, eventually he it would have got.
Okay, well, hold on. When you say you feel, that sounds like an appeal to emotions. So, like, okay, are you conceding to like my premise? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I understand what. Yeah, like at that
Okay,
moment, it would.
okay,
He probably would. It
okay,
would be in like more
okay.
down.
So we can always debate again in the future, like when we have stuff on us. So, like, good debate. It was fun. So,
Yeah, I was not that good as of a debater,
it's
but
all good. It was a good conversation. So,
yeah.
good. So, let's. Okay, so.
Okay, well I'm gonna head out because I gotta watch some kids. So
Okay.
see you.
See ya.